These are two books that made me cry. The first one was Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi, and this is actually part of a trilogy. Well, sort of. The reason I say sort of is because you don't really have to read the books in like a particular order. Actually, you'd have to read the first and the third, but like you could read the second at any point, like however you wanted to do it. Yeah, but like all the stories connect, but they're like different short stories taking place in the same kind of area. So the first one is Before the Coffee Gets Cold. Second one is Tales from the Cafe. And the third one is Before Your Memory Fades. But this is the one that made me cry. Like, they were all good, but this was the best one. And so basically what it's about is this cafe. And this cafe is special because you can go back in time. However, it's not what you think. You have to sit in a certain seat that's guarded by a ghost, and you can only be in that, like you can only go back in time if you've been in the cafe and the person you want to see has been in the cafe. And so there's a lot of very particular rules. And then the biggest one, of course, is you can go back in time, but it's not going to change anything. And so a lot of people are like, why would I want to do that? Like, there's too many rules. It doesn't actually make a difference. Why should I do that? But what's really great about this is that it's not about making a difference in the present. It's about properly processing stuff that's happened or having those conversations that you never got to have. And so there's one where it's like a woman who was talking to her husband right before he got Alzheimer's. The one that made me cry was, it was a woman who was talking to her dead sister who she had a falling out with. That one just like, it struck such a chord with me because like I love my sisters. Like, we don't have any beef or anything, but it was just like, I think it was just like the whole essence of it, of like having someone you love like pass away. And it's like, that's like so rough. And just like the conversation she had with her and just the whole thing, like it made me so emotional. And I'm just like tears. Like when I say cry, like I'm not talking about like your eyes get a little bit watery, your eye would cry at everything. No, this is like full blown tears, and it's magical and it's just really good. It does take a little bit though to get into it because it was translated from Japanese. And so the writing's a little bit different than like what you would typically see. But I think it's really good still. Like it does, like I mentioned, like it took me a little bit to get into it, but like once you get into the story after, like it feels a little bit clunky, but then it's like, yeah, it's smooth sailing from there. So yeah, this book was so much fun. I think about it all the time. I think about how sad and just beautiful, and it's like short and sweet. It's really good. The second book is Hello Beautiful by Napolitano. Did not say that right, I know. And so this one is really interesting because it basically follows the life, the drama of one family. It's very similar to Little Women, and it even makes references to Little Women. And that's pretty much like what the plot is. It's following just like this family that you grow to like care about and follow along and literally watch them grow up from like being teenagers or kids all the way to being like middle-aged. And it's just like, it's so beautiful. It's beautifully written. It's beautiful. All the characters are amazing. It's just so good. It has like so much family drama, and it also has really good kind of like mentions of like mental health and responsibility and expectations and people who think one thing and then like they try to control everything, but it doesn't turn out the way that they want it to be. And like all the sisters are different. The love interest, I was really surprised about what happens with one particular love interest, but I'll save that for you to be surprised about, because at first I was like, I don't know if I dig that, but then I kind of digged it, so you know? Oh, it also has themes about like parental responsibility and just like growing up and kind of like mending past wounds with family members. And like, it's honestly just like, it's a complex family drama. It's beautiful. It's so, so good. The part that made me cry though is like completely unexpected. And it was just like a dad seeing the birth of a daughter, and he like looks at it and it's like, hello beautiful, and then like events occur, and like I don't know, it was just that one part that was just like, oh no, like it's so sad and it's so beautiful and it's so sweet. It's a beautiful book. It's a beautiful story. I love it. There was a lady the other day who was buying that book behind me, and I read this book months ago, and I looked at her, and I'm not somebody to really like talk to strangers, like it's not really my vibe, but books are different. Books bring out the best in me. And I see this lady behind me, and she's holding Hello Beautiful, and I'm like, oh, Hello Beautiful is amazing. And she's like, oh yeah, I'm very excited to read it. I hear it's like Little Women. And I'm like, yeah, it's amazing. It's gonna be like one of the best things you ever read. And so she and I were just chatting it up, talking about this book. And so I really hope that she likes it. Obviously, I never saw her again because I don't know every random person who happens to be in line behind me at a store, but I hope that you enjoyed it. And if it was you, I hope, if you're watching this video, I hope you enjoyed it. And if you haven't read it, this book is so, so good. Like Before the Coffee Gets Cold is a different type of good. This is like pedestal kind of good. I'm pretty sure I think it like won some awards, like Book of the Year at some point, or was on the list of Book of the Year for 2023. It was so good. I could talk about this book forever, but it's like one of those books that it's like hard to explain the plot of it because like it just follows the life of like a family, and it's like, how do you really explain that? And the best way to think of it is like, it's just good. And it's like Little Women, and it's just like, it's a vibe. It's honestly a vibe, an emotional vibe. So yeah, these are the 2 books that made me cry. And if you want to read these books that will make you cry, they may not make you cry, they may make you cry, it depends. Like, it's very arbitrary because like, you know, everybody's different. But yeah, these books they're so enjoyable. I think about them all the time. I just think about them all the time. They're so good. So if you haven't read these books, definitely add them to your list. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. If you haven't already, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell notification. That way you get notified anytime a new video comes out. If you enjoyed this video, if you read any of those books, and if books have ever made you cry, don't forget to hit the like button, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!